Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. And it is going to turn briefly drier through this weekend, but it is going to turn colder as well, with frosts quite widely in the north, but could even drift further southwards as well over the next couple of nights. However, as we head into early next week, we're going to see the Atlantic influence return with more very unsettled conditions, gusty winds and lots of heavy rain, with those temperatures climbing slightly higher with milder westerly winds, but still fairly chilly. The longer range, though, is starting to cause some significant headaches, as we'll see from the latest GFS, GM, ECMWF, and the ensembles, as we are seeing some big conflicting ideas. As we have talked about in the last sort of few videos, there is quite a persistent signal for some higher pressure ridging and some blocking to our north. But the continued trend of uncertainty with regards to that is still there in the models. Unfortunately, they're not deciding really where that high pressure is going, how strong it will be, and whether it will hold off the Atlantic and bring in colder air. Now, at the moment, most of the runs are showing some sort of northerly or easterly incursions. For a time, very few showing anything too sustained. So I think the most likely scenario at this stage is generally changeable with colder spells, but there is the chance that things could be quite significantly colder if we did see a proper easterly or northerly flow move in. But equally, if that block stays slightly further northwards and eastwards, we could see a repeat of what happened a few weeks ago with Storm Babet, where we see low pressure off the Atlantic held right over the top of us. So we'll explore that and see what the most likely scenario is in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, as you can see in the live radar, it is a drier day today. Still showers in the west, especially for Wales, Northern Ireland, and more extensively across Scotland, with even these showers turning to snow over the higher ground. Again, we're likely to see more and more of that over the next couple of weeks as we do descend towards winter. So snowfall is going to inevitably become more widespread, but at the moment it mainly is over the highest ground of Scotland. But as I said, temperatures are dropping away quite significantly, and tonight you can already see lighter blues appearing even as far down as sort of Oxfordshire. Temperatures here down towards the low single digits. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe a freezing sort of 0 or 1 degree here, and more widely further northwards. You can see though there are some spots of yellows, and it's very up and down, a sort of widespread freeze or widespread cold night, and the reason for that is there's areas of cloud and again urban areas holding on to those slightly milder temperatures, and of course for western coasts with the wind veering in from the west, of course it holds those temperatures up slightly higher. But over the next couple of nights, quite a few areas are going to have an opportunity to see those temperatures dip quite low, potentially the lowest they've been all autumn. So if you are up early this weekend, do make sure you put hats and gloves and a coat on, as it is going to be pretty cold. Now, after you look at the latest UKV, you can see showers were plenty in Scotland, and they continue to be, and then a few across western parts, but they are continuing to reduce. As we head beyond that through Saturday afternoon, we do see a weather front approach from the southwest, and you'd think we'd see another big wall of rain move in. However, this weather front really does peter out on approach. It does give a bit of rain and a bit of cloud through Sunday morning, but most areas nothing too much, and it really only progresses northwards and eastwards through Sunday afternoon, maybe giving some heavy rain on its back edge through Sunday evening. So in a system that looks like it's going to give some heavy rain through Saturday night, it makes such slow progress and only really moves about 100, 200 miles in the space of about 24 hours, so very slowly indeed. But eventually it does move in, and this brings back the westerly wind. So as I said, come Sunday night into Monday, the westerlies return. So briefly cold and dry this weekend, and the westerlies return, and you can see very strong winds coming in from the west. Some bouts of very heavy rain and some squally rain, gusty winds, and really generally horrible conditions coming in from the southwest there, and that's going to continue through much of next week. Again, there will be dry spells. Wednesday doesn't look too bad for southern areas, but once again it will be isolated days. Most days will have quite a few showers and quite a lot of persistent rain and gusty winds. Now, if you look at the upper air temperatures, you can see Colder upper air temperatures do descend through much of this weekend before they slowly get pushed away by milder air from the southwest for around Sunday. Eventually, though, we continue to see colder air move in, and even by Wednesday, actually, some cooler, fresher air does move in within a colder sector. So, yes, slightly milder towards Monday to Wednesday, but cooling down once again through Wednesday. If you look at the max temperatures, you can see overnight tonight frost developing in the north, and locally further southwards could see temperatures dip to as low as 3 or 4 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures not going to rise all too much, maybe at best 9 to 11, but many other areas down towards sort of 6 or 7 during the day. Overnight into Sunday, this is where we could see the more extensive frost developing further northwards and eastwards, widely for Scotland into northern England, and then up for a stretch across Wales, the Midlands and eastern England under clear skies. Could see a frost develop there. Sunday's going to be another pretty cold day, maybe 4 to 8 degrees further northwards and eastwards. For the south and the west, temperatures up to maybe 14 degrees as milder air moves in under the cloud. Monday again, maybe could see actually 13 or 14 degrees in the southeast there as milder sector moves in, but still quite a bit colder further northwards. And by Tuesday, you can see most of the frosts are cut out. And Tuesday afternoon again, maybe 10 to 12 degrees. Before Wednesday, you see it starting to slip again down towards maybe 8 to 11. So it's starting to see this sort of cold, fluctuating pattern emerge. Where it's not bitterly cold by any means, but fluctuating between below average, and slightly above average with frosts on some of those nights. So if we do have a look at the big mixed signals we are seeing in the longer term now, you can see we are seeing westerly winds at the moment, but that high pressure does build in a bit of a ridge of high pressure for the weekend, and that means it's going to be slightly more settled and colder, of course. But low pressure pushes back in firmly through Monday, giving much more unsettled conditions and generally quite horrible conditions in places as we head into next week. Then we see a ridge of high pressure build, and this is where things get interesting. That high pressure tries to build over the top of us, sets us down, and even tries to bring in some easterly winds. But it has real issues fighting up against Atlantic lows. And as we head beyond that, it does stay more westerly, but high pressure continues to fight against the low pressure. And look at that, southwesterly winds coming in against easterly winds. So actually we draw up quite a warm southerly wind by the end here. Again, nothing ridiculous, but slightly above average. But equally, if you look out to our north, we've got plenty of cold air pooling around. And this is the sort of pattern where it's fluctuating run by run. Now, this is actually the 6 o'clock run, because I did want to just compare and show you the deviations we're seeing, because look at this. This is the end of the latest run, where it's much colder. Now, if we run through this run, you can see that we are seeing lots of westerly winds again, high pressure ridging in by next weekend, and then we see the fluctuating lows, high pressure building further northwards and actually successfully pulling an easterly wind in there for a time, and then actually high pressure builds in and more of a northerly wind developing. So this is the same sort of pattern. You can see the same fluctuations, but vastly different outcomes. Now this is why it's causing quite big headaches, because we have a look at the temperature deviation here. Blues 4 to 6 degrees below average, the 6 o'clock run 4 to 6 degrees above average. Now, if you compare to the GM, again, brief ridge of high pressure through this weekend. Westerly winds continue to come in off the Atlantic, and then we do see some high pressure building in. And again here, this ends up very similar to the GFS 6 o'clock run with a southerly wind. But look at this, real weirdly shaped high pressure ridge coming out of the North Atlantic. So yes, it could be very mild, it could be actually quite cold, but one thing for certain is the pattern is pretty peculiar, and it's not a traditional westerly flow, which can happen quite often this time of year. This actually is pushing up a really warm air mass there. Look at that, 10 to 12 degrees above average. Again, very unlikely, but potential. If we do look at the ECMWF, again, northwesterly winds continue to push in off the Atlantic. Eventually, we do see low pressure dominate, and then right towards the extended range, high pressure ridging back in. And again, we're seeing this sort of forking high pressure up towards Greenland, pushing all this cold air. Look at that, all out into Scandinavia. Big pool of cold Arctic air trying to head our way. You can see we are a matter of a few hundred miles away from some pretty cold, chilly, below freezing Arctic air. So again, that could make a bit of an influence as we head towards the end of November. But here, we're under about an average air mass, keeping things slightly milder than if we were under that much colder air mass to our northeast. As you can see, all three runs have a broadly similar overall outlook in terms of sort of the wavy jet streams, some weird ridging patterns, but they're all in disagreement about exactly what that will entail. And until these sort of ridges are sorted out, the exact sort of shape of the jet stream is sorted out, we're not going to see any consistency, unfortunately. And this is just emphasised by having a look at the latest ensembles. You can see over the next week or so, below average in the next couple of days, milder and then colder once again towards the next weekend. Beyond that, though, look at the wavy patterns from some of these ensemble members. Some going very cold, -6 to -8 degrees. That bring the risk of snow, even snow to low-lying areas, but others up towards +10 degrees, with a lot of up and down. Precipitation definitely is slightly reduced in the longer term, but it's not zero by any means. There's still quite a bit left. So definitely it's a trend towards higher pressure, but there is still a big spread. Humidity temperatures are having a massive spread as well. Look at that, longer range, some 15 degrees, some 4 or 5. And if we compare to the EC and the WF, again, maybe not quite as much spread in around 10 days' time. More certainty there that it will be above average, but beyond that, quite a few runs to -5, quite a few runs to +10. So again, big spread, and the models really don't have a clue exactly what is going to happen. The only certainty we do have is it's going to be fairly chilly over the next couple of days, briefly milder and unsettled early next working week, and then could turn chilly and more settled again as we head into the following weekend, with some more wavy jet stream sort of patterns and big Atlantic ridging beyond that. So we'll just have to keep a very close eye on it. Of course, I'll keep you updated, and hopefully we do see a bit more consensus, a bit more consistency from the models, as we have seen some vastly different runs over the past few days. And hopefully, as I said, we do see those models come together and form some sort of agreement over the next few days. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.